All right, I know there's other games to talk about here, but I got to ask you about the Sunglass Bowl because South Carolina was not good last weekend, and Lenora Sellers in his debut did not look particularly inspiring. They could not run the football. They got real lucky on a turnover inside the red zone to win that game. Lenora Sellers, I think, actually tackled his own running back one time, which is
He
really
did.
difficult to do. Kentucky, meanwhile, Brock Vandegriff debuts, plays pretty well. Defense was very salty for Kentucky. This is a 10-point spread, Stephen. This is a big number. And South Carolina's, lucky to get away with a W against Old Dominion. And Kentucky sort of quietly, because it was a later night and no one was really paying attention, and there's a little bit of a delay there. I think Kentucky kind of quietly handled its business fairly efficiently last week. And I think that's why Vegas is telling you this is a 10-point spread right now.
So South Carolina was pretty fortunate, I think, fair to say, last week against Old Dominion. The 4 turnovers, including there was, I think, a couple by the red zone that really won them the game. Just looking at this matchup on the surface, I was impressed with Brock Vandegriff last week against Southern Miss. It was hard to read too much into it. The game was kind of choppy. They started late, they ended early due to weather. But at the same time, though, I think just how this game could play out, Kentucky really good on the defensive line, linebackers. South Carolina's offensive line could be an issue. Can they stretch the field in the passing game? I think this is a really bad matchup right now, at least from what we saw in week 1 for South Carolina. And I thought, like I said, Vandegriff played well. South Carolina could give up they give big play to Old Dominion in the passing game. Be curious to see if that front for South Carolina can create some disruption and maybe slow down this Kentucky passing game. But I like the Wildcats. I thought they had a pretty solid kind of under the radar week 1 debut.
And as unfortunate as it is, Stephen, you just don't have time anymore in college football to allow your young, talented quarterback to develop at a place like South Carolina. It's not that Sellers doesn't have upside and talent. He does. It's just like, you're just not afforded much time to allow these things to happen. You're in year 4. You got to win. There's expectations. And now you're going up against the guy that is sort of Mr. Consistency in Mark Stoops. And you guys have kind of had this like off the field, like coaching beef. Like this is ripe for a Kentucky, let's say, taking out some aggression on South Carolina on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Are you saying Kentucky might score one time late just to rub it in?
I think there's going to be some fireworks from a decision-making standpoint on the field.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to make for an entertaining football game. As an objective observer, of course, watching the game. I'll take Kentucky. I'm not betting on that one, but I would take the Kentucky and lay the 10 points if I had to.